I remember it clearly, like a shadow that never leaves me. It all started when I became obsessed with understanding life's darkest mysteries. The idea of confronting my deepest fears, the nightmares that haunted my soul, wouldn't let me go. I heard about a wise old man who lived atop the tallest hill, past a village that sat on the edge of the forest, an unsettling place where no one dared venture after dark. They said the old man knew the secret to facing nightmares, and I was determined to find him. I was warned. People said the woods around the hill changed as the sun went down, that strange things happened in the dark. But my curiosity pushed me forward. I had to know. As I made my way through the dense forest, the shadows seemed to stretch and twist in ways I couldn't explain. The wind, though gentle, felt like it carried whispers just beyond my hearing, warning me, maybe even taunting me. But I pressed on, my heart pounding louder with each step. By the time I reached the top of the hill, night had completely fallen. The village below had disappeared into the fog, and in front of me was the decaying temple where the old man waited. I could feel the air growing colder, heavier. He stood there, shrouded in his cloak, eyes glinting like they saw straight through me. "Old man," I said, my voice shaking more than I'd like to admit, "how can I face my nightmare?" He didn't say anything at first, just smiled, a slow, unsettling smile. Finally he spoke. 10 years. I felt my stomach drop. But what if I work harder, push myself even more? I asked, feeling the desperation in my own voice. How soon can I conquer this nightmare? The old man paused, his gaze shifting to the swirling mist that had begun to creep around the trees. 20 years, he replied, quieter now, like he was speaking to something hidden in the dark. I was growing frustrated, but couldn't give up. What if I give everything? I pressed on. All my energy, all my focus. How long then? His smile faded, and for a moment, his eyes seemed to grow darker, colder. 30 years. That's when I felt it. A chill deep in my bones, colder than the night air. The harder I tried to beat this nightmare, the further away the solution seemed. Fear and confusion gnawed at me. I don't understand, I blurted out. The more I promise to work hard, the longer it seems to take. Why? He stared at me, his eyes locked on mine with an intensity that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. When you have one eye fixed on the nightmare, you have only one eye on the path, he said, his voice echoing in the silence that now surrounded us. And that's when it hit me. The shadows weren't just shadows. They were moving, shifting, creeping closer. The cold fog that had seemed distant was now curling around my feet. I had been so focused on defeating my nightmare that I had missed the danger lurking right around me. I was so consumed with reaching the end that I wasn't paying attention to the path I was on. And now, that path was about to swallow me whole. The old man's voice cut through the rising terror. Imagine climbing a tree in this forest. The nightmare is the fruit at the top, and you're so eager to grab it. But if you keep your eyes only on the fruit, you'll miss the branches beneath you, the very ones that could give way. You'll lose your balance, and in these woods, the fall is unforgiving. Focus on each step, each breath, or the nightmare will devour you. I looked around, the fog thickening, the shadows closing in. I realized then that my impatience, my rush to overcome the nightmare, had brought me closer to danger. The old man was right. By focusing on the end, I had missed the warnings along the way. His voice softened, and for a moment, I thought I saw compassion in his eyes. You can't outrun your nightmare. If you try, it will chase you. But if you face it, one step at a time, you'll find that the journey through the darkness is where your strength lies. Those words stayed with me, even as the shadows seemed to press against me, testing my resolve. I understood now. It wasn't about rushing to defeat the nightmare. It was about walking through it, facing each fear as it came, step by step. The old man's lesson was clear. In life, like in nightmares, you can't fixate on the end goal. The path, no matter how dark or terrifying, is where you find the strength to keep going. If I wanted to conquer the nightmare, I had to stop running from it and start facing it, one step at a time. And so, I took a breath, turned toward the shadows, and began the real journey.